It's hard to imagine Roblox without egg hunts, but here we are. With little hope of ever seeing another official egg hunt again, the memory of them will inevitably fade into obscurity over the years. But those eggs didn't crack in vain, not if I have anything to say about it, because today, I'm going over each egg hunt individually, so get ready for the good, the bad, and the sponsored, with an incomplete history of Roblox egg hunts. Hey, it's Willie from the future. This was originally an Easter special, but I didn't end up finishing it in time and then abandoned it. I will get around to finishing it, but I don't want to leave you all hanging for another year, so I'm just gonna put out this as a part 1, so enjoy. I don't want to waste your time reminiscing about egg hunts or explaining things you already know, so I'm just gonna get right into it. Before that, however, I have to say that I joined Roblox in 2013, meaning that I only participated in egg hunts 2014 and beyond firsthand. So for 2008, 2010, 2012, and 2013, I'll be going off of reboots of them that people have made. The accuracy may vary, but it's better than nothing, I'm sure. Links to them will be in the description if you want to check them out yourself. Also, I won't be able to go into detail about every single egg, but I'll mention a few good ones for sure. This video's going to be a long one, so sit back and relax. Without any further ado, let's get into this. Unsurprisingly, Roblox Egg Hunt 2008 was pretty different from most other egg hunts. Back then, Roblox was a lot simpler and more of a small community rather than the massive juggernaut of a platform like it is today. Egg Hunt 2008, or I guess I should say the 2008 egg drop, involved eggs falling from the sky in every single game over the course of a few days. They would fall for an hour at 11 a.m. Pacific time to 12 a.m. Pacific time on the first 2 days, but for the third day they fell for 4 hours starting at 11. As you can see in the video here, it's pretty chaotic. Eggs are falling left and right, bouncing, exploding, trying to play chess, and other generic egg-related activities. This egg drop isn't really anything special other than a neat piece of Roblox history. Some eggs from this year that I'd like to highlight are the Wanwood Egg of Zamg, which would explode whenever somebody touched it until it was small enough to collect, and of course the Cracked Egg of Ponage, which would drop when you killed somebody wearing the bunny ears of Caprice, which is a pair of bunny ears given out to a select group of players. I guess that makes it the original admin egg. I found that pretty neat considering how far admin eggs have come since then. Since the eggs were falling in every game, plenty of players took advantage of this by making egg catcher games with funnels and bowls for the eggs to fall into for easy collecting. A handful of these games are still up, so if you want to check them out for yourself for some reason, you could just search up egg catcher in the games tab. With cheats like this, the formula of dropping eggs in every game is clearly a bad idea, so of course Roblox would go on to do it again in 2010, because they never learn, do they? It turns out that sometimes evil triumphs, because Egg Hunt 2010 was like 2008 but somehow worse! Wait a minute, what about 2009? Well, there was no 2009, and that's probably a good thing, to be honest. Roblox dropped the egg hunt on April 2nd, 2010, featuring 16 different eggs, but I guess the community hunted them to extinction because 2 days later, on April 4th, the Roblox servers imploded in on themselves and the egg hunt was delayed until late July, almost 4 months after Easter. See, Roblox, you've always been this way. Not only was this event a disorganized mess, it was pay to win! That's right, you had to purchase Builders Club to hold the egg basket that came with it to collect more than 3 eggs. If you were patient and waited till July, you could collect 6. I'm glad this awful system of needing the stupid Builders Club egg basket didn't bleed into 2012. This egg hunt was incredibly annoying for me to play through, as you could see by the footage playing in the background. I'm getting launched into space, flung out of the map, slowed down, blown up, and just all around inconvenienced if I dared step on the wrong egg, which is very easy to do because they're constantly falling from the sky. Instead of highlighting the eggs I liked, let's talk about the ones that annoyed me the most. First up, we have the radioactive egg of Undead Apocalypse, or as I called it here, peak comedy. No matter where you were, you would hear this egg screaming constantly, and the only way to make it shut up was to collect it. Next up, we have the POW to the moon egg. If you step on it, it'll launch you thousands of studs into the sky. It won't kill you, but you'll wish it did while you wait to fall back down to the map just so you could step on it again. Lastly, we have the starry egg of the wild ride. This one is basically just the super fling admin command strapped to your feet. This one will in fact kill you, but not before shooting you into several different walls and straight out of the map. I don't want to play this game anymore, and I will absolutely not be revisiting it later. If you want to suffer too, link is in the description. But now, let's move on to one of the great ones, Egg Hunt 2012. According to pretty much anyone who's played it, Egg Hunt 2012 was really good. Some would say the best. And I gotta say, it's not bad at all. This was the first egg hunt to be held in its own dedicated game rather than being an egg drop occurring in every game, which was a welcome change. Though definitely being a product of its time, it was extremely innovative in many ways as well. The map was huge, but not quite huge enough to turn the game into a walking simulator, unlike some egg hunts. But with that being said, there really isn't a lot to say about this egg hunt without talking about the eggs, as most of them are just kinda chilling around the map waiting to be collected. There really isn't a challenge or puzzle to get most of these eggs. They basically just amount to, go to specific place, get egg. But that's not to say that there weren't any good eggs, far from it actually. This egg hunt has some truly iconic eggs that I'm sure some newer players even know about. First off, I'd like to mention the last egg of 2012. Despite the fact that this egg would spawn everywhere, it was only able to be obtained after you'd collected every other egg in the egg hunt. Is what I would say if that were even remotely true. Due to a wacky exploit involving a player's render settings that I won't even try to understand, exploiters awarded this egg to well over 450,000 players, making it even more confusing that it went limited. I'd like to buy myself one, but I'm not down with giving password guessers more money. Frustrating, isn't it? I blame Sorkus. Next up to bat is the insanely valuable crystal egg. To get it, you have to wait for all the lava in the massive cave system beneath the map to drain so that you could enter and grab it. I also figured it was worth mentioning that the description of this egg's badge directly hates on Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, which I will never forgive Roblox for. Finally, we have the Egg of All-Devouring Darkness. I've always loved this egg, despite how basic it looks. Before it went limited, I would have happily traded a kidney or 3 for it. To get this masterpiece of an egg, 8 players had to stand in a circle for days on end until it spawned, and then only one of you could grab it. It'd play this really spooky whispering sound too. I think it's just a member of the Roblox staff at the time reading the Photoshop sample text, though. I vaguely remember someone online saying that when you collected it, the server would shut down. But in this video, it just looks like he loses connection. But who knows? Maybe the egg infected his Wi-Fi router or something. Spooky! Right as I hopped into Egg Hunt 2013, I was immediately greeted by none other than Roger Waters staring me down. That was a good sign because this egg hunt was actually pretty fun. Although, as I hinted in the 2012 segment, it feels like a walking simulator at times. It was pretty much just Egg Hunt 2012 with a much bigger map. There is a tower, a volcano, a giant tree, a city, some cows, and so much more. And I mean so much more. Traveling from place to place seems daunting, and it is, but you can make it slightly less of a pain by activating the teleporters you could find around the map. That way, when you spawn, you could hop right into a teleporter and get to where you want to go right off the bat. That, however, doesn't change the fact that in order to use them, you have to find them first, which is a huge pain. Maybe I'm just lazy, though, because people really seem to like this mechanic from what I remember. This egg hunt also introduced the concept of eggs hatching for the first and thankfully last time. A handful of eggs that you could find would hatch into hats that somehow ended up looking considerably worse than a big egg on your head. Speaking of eggs, let's get to the eggs that I'd like to talk about. First up, we have the catalytic converter egg. Just kidding, I mean the cataclysmic egg. Every so often, the volcano would erupt and chaos would ensue throughout the map. When this happened, you would have to run to the corner of the map to get the egg before someone else got it, because you know that everyone else in the server was also running for that egg too. This egg's a limited now, so if you want one, you can get it for the low price of 500-ish Robux. What a steal! Next up, we have the watermelon. Not the watermelon egg, just a straight up watermelon. To get this one, you walk up to it and collect it. But you don't care about that, do you? This egg's not notable at all, but I like it, so you unfortunately had to hear me talk about it. Here's an egg you'll actually care about, the Egg of Duty. This one will kill you on sight if you even think about getting close to it. If it kills you, which it will in one shot, have fun walking all the way back only to die again. This one actually hatched and turned into the Bad Blocks hatchling. Yeah, I don't like this one. Maybe you should have made it more like the Egg Arachnophobia. When you collect this one, it spawns a handful of spiders. You can take your time running away though, because they don't do very much damage. This one's a limited too, and you could pick it up for only 500-ish Robux as well. You should buy 10. Lastly, we have the Sorcus egg. To get this one, you need to grab some spam from one of the houses and give it to him. I got a few choice words for him about the last egg of 2012. This is the last of the egg hunts that I didn't participate in, so I'll probably have a lot more to say about the rest of them. So, without any further ado, let's head into 2014. I gotta get out of here. It's taking over the Wi-Fi network. No, 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 no! Ah! For this one, I was able to dig up some actual footage of me playing the event back in 2014 on an old computer. I'm sure that this low-quality footage will be fun for you to watch in the background. With that being said, I already made an entire video on Egg Hunt 2014, so this segment will be pretty short compared to the other ones. For a more in-depth review, go check that one out. This Egg Hunt was incredibly innovative in a lot of ways. For one thing, Egg Hunt 2014 was the first one to throw a story into the mix. Our good pal Lucky Lappin tells us that the evil rabid rabbit stole the eggs and scrambled them throughout 5 different worlds. And by worlds, I mean world. Each of the worlds are just the same world in different eras throughout history. There's before civilization, medieval times, modern civilization, ruined civilization, and Rabid Rabbit's personal future where he's taken over. That's right, this egg hunt was the first one to introduce multiple worlds. This would quickly become the norm for most of the following egg hunts. If you want to hear more about this particular egg hunt, you can check out my dedicated video on it that I mentioned before, but for now, let's talk about some eggs. First up to bat, we have the Teamwork Egg series. This series has 4 eggs: the Egg of Friendship, the Egg of Partnership, the Egg of Cooperation, and the Egg of Flawless Teamwork. To get each of these, you would have to go through each world and participate in increasingly difficult challenges that require more players for each one. Usually, they just amounted to getting a handful of players to stand on each button to open the door so you could grab the egg. But for the Egg of Flawless Teamwork, you had to look for numbers hidden in a building so you could get carried to a small obstacle course so that you could stand on more buttons and activate an elevator that could carry you up to the egg. Next, we have our good friend, the Rabid Rabbit egg. To get this one, you have to walk into the teleporter in front of his statue in the final world, which will send you to his lair. Once you get there, you could do what you do best and snap him in half. However, of course, it's not that simple. This egg hunt was incredibly buggy, and a victim of its bugginess was poor Rabid Rabbit. A lot of the time, he doesn't even move or do anything, meaning you could just hit him like it's nothing. That would mean it's an easy egg to get, right? Not at all. He's constantly regenerating his health, making it impossible to kill him without a team of like 10 players. Builderman save ya if he decides to function properly for once, because he's so incredibly difficult that you won't be able to as much as sneeze on him before he puts you 6 feet under. While I was making this video, I was able to kill him in one of the reboots of the game. He was actually functioning properly too, surprisingly. I was lucky enough to get into a server with somebody who had about a gallon of potions, and he just popped them and respawned whenever he died. That didn't make it much easier though, because this boss will tear you in half. The guy I was with probably went through every potion he had in this fight, and only barely ended up scraping by. It's a real pain, but the egg is alright looking, I guess. Now that it's limited, you can cop it for significantly less pain than you would have had to endure back in 2014. Lastly, we have the Sapphire Fabergé Egg of Sparkle Time. There's no complex challenge to get it or anything. You just find it and collect it. It's one of the best eggs Roblox has ever made in my opinion, and as of the time I'm writing this script, it's not limited yet, so if it ever pops up, I'll have to get a few. If you want to know more about this specific egg hunt, you can check out the dedicated video on it that I mentioned 3 times now, but that's about all I have on it today. So, let's keep moving and jump into Egg Hunt 2015. 2015, everybody's favorite egg hunt. If you have an opinion on it, it's probably pretty negative. Not a single person at the time liked this egg hunt, and it still has a pretty negative reputation to this day. It was the first egg hunt to scramble the eggs off into different games, those being Super Bomb Survival, Twisted Murderer, and Ritpul's minigames. Each of them had their own unique set of eggs to grab, while also sharing a couple, like the hipster egg of retro. As controversial as the 2015 egg hunt was, it did have its fair share of interesting eggs to collect at least, such as the fancy egg of Fabulous. That name alone is food for my queer soul. This one was housed in a glass case in the lobby of Twisted Murderer. In order to get it, you would have to play PewDiePie's song Fabulous in order for the case to open so that you could grab it. That's gotta be one of the goofiest ways to get an egg that you could possibly think of. Most of the time, you could hear the song constantly blaring over the speakers in the lobby. I would play it, but I'm sure that this video would get copyright claimed if I did. Ah, what the heck, it's not like I'll make anything off this video anyway. Ah, there we go. Now that we're in the right mood, let's talk about the last egg standing, which was hidden in Super Bomb Survival. To get it, you would have to brave the bombs until you were the last survivor. Either that, or it was just nearing the end of the round. Once the criteria had been met, it would fall from the sky just like any other bomb in the game. Just step on it to grab it, nothing special. Lastly, let's move on into Ritpul's minigames. The creator hid the eggs for this one in the lobby. There's a big grassy area with all sorts of room to move around and walk and move around and walk and... Did I mention walk? My favorite of these eggs is the Egg of Golden Achievement. To get it, you would have to hunt down a crown hidden somewhere in the grasslands of the lobby. Once you found it, you would have to track down the golden egg and put the crown on top of it to claim the egg. If you, for some reason, want to hear more about this egg hunt in particular, you could watch my dedicated video on it, but I promise that this egg hunt is really nothing special compared to the other ones. But before we can move on, I have to mention the Eggman. This egg wasn't the first admin egg, but it was the first admin egg in the traditional sense. To get the egg, you would have to hunt down somebody with the admin bunny ears of mischief and hope that they threw an egg at you. I was unfortunately not lucky enough to be graced with the presence of one of the admins, so I never got this one. I've wasted enough time talking about this egg hunt, so without further ado, let's hop our way into Egg Hunt 2016. Oh my god, this is the most stupid subplot I think anybody has ever heard of. You're an egg. It's not like you could impact Roblox or anything. You're a random egg hat from 2012. Do you think I could understand what you're saying or something? I don't speak Latin. I don't speak Photoshop sample text. Okay, what are you saying? Okay, be like that. Jeez. I don't care what anyone else says about 2016, I freaking loved this one. So what if it's a bit buggy and unpolished at times? So what if it's too similar to previous years? It's a great egg hunt. I happened to dig up about 10 seconds of footage of me playing this back in 2016, so here's that. Underwhelming, I know. The map and most of, if not all of the eggs were made by a third-party developer, Hawaiian Snowman, who was known as Master Beyblade 21 at the time, with limited help from the admins. Or as my friend put it while we were recording the background footage,
"This isn't by Roblox. This is by, whatever this guy is."
This definitely proved to be a step in the right direction, because without devs working on the egg hunts rather than the admins, we wouldn't have gotten the masterpieces of 2017 and 2018. More on those later. The map is nice and big, and it employs the same portal travel system they had back in 2013, so that way you don't have to walk around too much. I personally think that this portal system's a lot better than 2013 though, probably because of the fact that the map is a lot smaller and you don't have to hunt too much to find the portals. There's not much else to say that I haven't already said about previous years of egg hunts. Cool map, nice eggs, the works. But for what it lacks in its originality, it makes up for tenfold in eggs, such as the Rainbourget. There's no real challenge to getting it besides copious amounts of patience. This egg would never spawn. The wiki wouldn't tell me exactly how many people have it, but only around 20,000 people have the badge. But since the game's still up, there's probably at least 1,000 people who got it without actually earning the hat. Getting it ultimately sums up to joining a server, checking the 2 spots that it spawns, those being in a parking garage on the stairs and behind a gravestone, then leaving. Repeat the process for a couple of days and maybe you'll score big and find the egg. I was lucky enough to find it at some point. I don't know how, I don't know when, but I have it. Next up, I'd like to mention the Egg of 4 Wonders. To get this one, you had to drag 3 of your friends along with you to grab each of the pieces of the egg. Once you had them all, you had to visit this little shrine behind the Colosseum in order to combine them. I think all 4 of you get the egg, but don't quote me on that. Oh, I can't forget about the infamous nesting egg, or should I say nesting eggs. There were 3 of them, each a different color, but you could only get one. I chose the red one myself, but I wish that I was able to get the other ones too. Now whenever I go back to check out the game, there's 2 black spaces in the egg list because you can only grab one. Ah! If you've ever checked out this Egg Hunts game, you've probably found these little purple shards around the map. These are the key to getting the Fabrain's egg. If your server collects 100 of them, the building in the center of the graveyard will open for about a minute and you could go in to get the egg. But if you think it's that easy, you'd be sorely mistaken. In order to see how many shards your server had collected, you had to buy a game pass. That made this egg pay to win! I was lucky enough to have a friend by the name of Atomic Green who had the game pass, so we spent over an hour collecting the shards, but when we were at around 97, my laptop overheated! Haha, it could never be that easy. I had to frantically download Roblox on my Kindle Fire so that I could get back in. Luckily, I was able to get back in on time, and I was able to get the egg. Thanks, Atomic Green, I still owe you one for that. There really isn't much else to say about this egg hunt that hasn't already been said about prior egg hunts. Overall, 2016 was a great year for the Roblox egg hunt tradition, and it paved the way for even more exciting hunts in the years to come. Speaking of more exciting egg hunts, let's move on to the first of the 2 egg hunts widely considered to be the best, the legendary Egg Hunt 2017. Well, that's all I have for part 1. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Let me know. Part 2 will be up sometime between now and Easter, so don't get your hopes up on it coming out anytime soon. Thank you so much for getting through this whole video. A like and a subscribe would be very nice so that I could start making money off of this whole YouTube thing eventually. But that's all I got. I will hopefully see you in the next part. Bye.